He's one of them. Okay. All right. I'd like to ask you to give Mr. Will your attention. Okay, he's from the Little Bit Foundation, and he has brought a special guest for you guys to listen to and exchange some great conversation with him.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's early. I'm Mr. Will with Little Bit Foundation. Just wanted to kind of come talk to you all this morning. Let y'all know about some of the things we're doing. Actually, what we're doing here in general today, regarding to even our guest speaker. Before we get to that point, I'm Mr. Will, Little Bit Foundation. I'm the high school program manager. So I work directly with Riverview High School and both middle schools. So just do a quick check-in real quick. Who came from Westview? Who came from Central? Okay. Hey, so yesterday we went to both. So Cory actually went and spoke to both classes yesterday. We had the Avid class over at Westview, and we had the Miss Howard's class over at Central. And so it went really well. Really excited I should come here today. So do some quick introductions real quick. I'll start with Lucretia Cox. So we got Lucretia Cox. She's the director of programs for Little Bit Foundation. Okay. We have Cory Carter. Cory Carter. I'll talk more about him a little bit later. Let's go over him. We have Michelle Abel. She's actually our chief development officer at Little Bit Foundation. We have Stephanie Leon. There we go, from GDIT. Okay, and then we have Cory Carter, which I'll be introducing in just a second. He'll come up and do the speaking piece, talk to you all kind of about who he is and where he came from, essentially what he does right now, what it's like. Before we get into that, I'm gonna give you all a quick rundown of about a program we have here at the high school called the SOAR Mentoring Program. Actually, some of you have heard about it. The SOAR Mentoring Program, it stands for Seek, Own, Advocate, and Rise. It's where we bring mentors actually into the school to work directly with you as students to help you create those next steps for your life, kind of create a plan for you to be successful. They're professionals in their networks and they're successful in what they do, but they're volunteering to come in to actually push into the school day and work with high school students to help them create a plan to how to get to the next steps of their life. You know, mentoring is very important, creating a network is very important, and actually this program is very important. It's very instrumental, it can be instrumental in your progress and actually your success. So if you're interested, please sign up in the office, right in the office, right next to the visitor sign-in sheet. So feel free to go by there and just sign anytime. Any questions, y'all let me know. I'm always on campus. You can't reach me, Dr. Perry. Now your teacher got my number. If you got any questions?
He's in trouble now.
Yeah, y'all let me know. I'm up here 3-4 days a week, so y'all let me know if I need anything. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to our speaker for the day is actually Mr. Cory Carter. So he's from GDIT, and he'll talk more about GDIT and what they are. He was actually one of the I keep saying what he acquired, the award he got. I keep saying it wrong, so I'm not gonna stop. Let him say what it is. But he's one of the top engineers in this company. He's a systems engineer. Right? Yep. Systems engineer for GDIT. I'm gonna let him tell the story. Talk to y'all who he is and what he do and how he got to where he is, and start relating some things to where you are, how to be successful. Let's give a hand for Cory Carter. That was weak. Let's give a hand for Cory Carter.
How y'all doing today? Like William said, my name is Cory Carter. I'm a senior system engineer for General Dynamics Information Technology. Recently, 2021, I was awarded the Bay Award, which is Black Engineer of the Year, but I was awarded the Modern Technology Leader of the Year for 2021. So we got about 14,000 employees, 31 engineers was picked, and I happened to be one. So it was a great accomplishment for me. Flew in from DC, the DMV. You probably seen a hashtag on IG saying DMV, and that stands for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And they call it the DMV because I live in Maryland, right? I work in Virginia, but on my way to work, I see DC as I'm crossing the bridge. So when you see the hashtag of somebody in DC, you will see DMV. I'm not originally from the DMV, I'm from Louisiana. Lake Charles, Louisiana. How many of y'all know where Lake Charles is? I ain't, all right. You know what Lake Charles is? Okay, so Lake Charles probably, normally when you say Louisiana, people jump straight to New Orleans. Or you might say, you know, Baton Rouge, NBA young boy, Boosie, where all them came from, you know. So I'm about 3 hours away from New Orleans, but 2 hours away from Houston. I know everybody know where Houston is. But I've been in the DMV area since about 2002. I graduated high school in 2001. 2002, I went straight to the DMV area, and I've been there ever since. So how many engineering students do we have here? Engineering, computer science. Okay. All right. And how many people in here that just want to do IT, information technology, that just want to, you know, when you go on to college, you're just looking to do something technical?
Being shy, I have a couple in here that said they wanted to be engineers or computer scientists. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a little bit different from yesterday. Yesterday I talked to the younger kids, but you guys are in college, so you high school, so you kind of at that moment where it's time to figure it out, right? You running out of time on the decision. So a little bit about my background in the IT. I didn't start off as an engineer. I kind of started off at a help desk position. And the help desk is pretty much, you know, y'all see everybody got Apple phones. You know, you run into a problem with your phone, you call Apple, you put in the ticket, something not working. The person who answers the phone, that's the help desk. So I kind of started off there. Then when they can't resolve the issue, right, they say, hey, we're gonna put in a ticket, somebody gonna call you back. That's more of a system administrator level, right? And so I did that for a while. And then I moved on to the engineering, and the engineering is when the critical thinking kick in, right? That's when you brainstorming, you coming up with innovative ideas, you know, you finding customers' pain points, you know, and you're trying to resolve the day-to-day operations, whether it's creating scripts, new software, any kind of new technology, you know, that's when the engineering kick in. And to get up to that point, I took Microsoft certifications. I got a degree in IT management. So I kind of started from the bottom of the technical skill level, and I worked my way to the top. So now I know you all probably looking like, you know, how you get here? He probably not from where we from, you know. And I'm not from St. Louis. This is probably my second time here. But I can relate a little bit, you know, to pretty much anybody, community, neighborhood. So I'm gonna rewind the tape a little bit back to, you know, when I was your age, a little bit before that. So again, from Louisiana, from Lake Charles, I grew up, and I would say from about 1 to 10, a pretty normal life. You know, had my father with me, my mother, my father. I got an older sister and 2 younger siblings. And it was pretty normal up until about 10. My older sister and I were coming home, and we got home, we looked in the window, and basically all the stuff was gone out the house. And we both kind of looked at each other like, what's going on? You know, somebody broke in the crib, somebody took our stuff. My mom pulled up right after that and say, hop in the car. We jump in the car, we go a couple blocks down the street, and this is your new home. This is where we staying here from now. So she left my father probably around 10, 11, and that's when things kind of took a turn. I mean, my father had a drinking problem. You know, he would put his hands on her, and I used to always say, I would watch that, and I couldn't do nothing about it. I was too small. Now my older sister, you know, she would fight back. She was a little bit older. She's 4 years older than me. So she ended up swinging, you know, and I'm just in the corner crying. I'm small at this time. I can't do nothing. So she ended up leaving. You know, she changed her situation a little bit. She left, and it kind of made me the man of the house. You know, so I got to grow up a little bit. So you know, that's when I started hanging with the wrong folks. you know, hanging around the wrong crowds. And that's when things start taking a turn, just doing random stupid stuff. You know, it wasn't, at this point, it wasn't too bad. Now I'm about 11, 12, you know, and I was always like an average student. I never knew what I wanted to be, you know, engineer. I didn't even know what an engineer was. But it's funny though, because people used to ask me, Cory, what you want to be when you grow up? And I would say I'm a mechanical engineer. I didn't even know what a mechanical engineer do. I didn't know what it was, but I knew if I said that, like they would leave me alone. So I tried to find something with a fancy name, you know. Yeah, I'll be a mechanical engineer. I don't know no engineers, you know. I don't know what they do. I just don't want you to keep pressing me, right? You know, so I'm a mechanical engineer is what I came with. That was my story. So, you know, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I was just average, you know. I would go to school, do average stuff. I always kept, I wasn't the smartest kid, you know, but my mama didn't play. So I would keep around a C, you know, because I knew if I had around a C, you know, every now and again a D, she let me make it, you know. So I wasn't really the homework guy. I always knew a few cute girls, you know, and I knew they was gonna do their homework. So you talk to them, get the homework, boom, you know, I was good, you know, and that's just the way I was moving, right? You know, I just wasn't a homework guy. I would rather go hop in the car with my boys, because all my boys was older, and ride around with them and do whatever we were doing, right? Around 13, 14, my mom comes sit me down. Hey, I need to have a conversation with you. I need to talk to you. All right, what's going on? So she said my father had just got locked up. I'm like, you know, and me and him was still cool, right? Like, he could still come pick me up. You know, my father, you know, he, on the weekend, he come pick me up, he get drunk. You know, I hop in the car, drive him home. He was too drunk to drive. I'm 12, 13 years old, driving my father home. I'm sitting on books. You know, I'm short. I mean, in high school, I probably was about 4'11" until I graduated, 5 foot maybe, you know. So I'm driving my father home as a young teenager, right? So when she sit me down and tell me my father got locked up, I'm like, okay, he probably was drunk, got into something, you know, he'll be out. So I'm like, you know, how long he locked up for? She said, he ain't coming back for a long time. So I'm like, you know, what happened? Like, I don't get it. She said he got 20 years. And that kind of just stopped me in my tracks, because I'm thinking, I'm starting my teenage years, 20 years. I ain't gonna see my father until I'm in my 30s. I'm 38 right now, right? I'm 38 right now, and now my father gone for 20 years. So I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, because nobody really talking on what happened. And he, with his boys, with his cousin, they drinking, going back and forth, bad decisions, hanging with the wrong people. They get into a fight, him and his cousin, going back and forth, they get in a fight. My father pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the neck, right? Killed his cousin. A bad decision. One night out with the wrong people, and he made a bad decision that cost him the rest of his life. So now, you know, that kind of, as a kid, I'm at the age now where I need my father. Like, I need that father figure, right? But he gone now. So now I gotta man up. I gotta figure it out. And that kind of really made me start doing some stuff that I you know, hang with the wrong people, stuff that I really didn't want to do. But I would always hang with the older crowd, right? I was hanging with the older cats because, I don't know, maybe I was looking for my father and some of these dudes, you know. They was my boys. So, you know, mom's struggling at this point. We don't have a whole lot, you know. My mom was doing hair at the time. She actually still doing hair today. But I tell people, it ain't nothing fly. You know, she doing Jerry curls still. And we in 2021? Yeah, she ain't doing nothing hot. You know, I call her sometime, what you doing? Let me call you back, I'm doing this Jerry curl. You know, so she wasn't making a whole lot of money, right? And with 4 kids, you know, the struggle was real. So, you know, no help from my father, so, you know, he can't do nothing. So we come home one day, and all our stuff is outside. I'm like, man, what happened? Why our stuff outside? Mom couldn't pay the rent, they kicked us out. So I'm like, dang. It didn't really affect me that day at the time, because we went to stay at a hotel, right? We went to the Motel 6, and man, the Motel 6 had a pool. You know, I would call my boys, they come swimming. It was like vacation for us. We kids, you know. We eating pizza, it's vacation. It didn't really affect me, or I didn't really think about it until a week ago. I was telling the story to a guy, and we going back and forth, and I'm telling him this story. I'm like, yeah, we was at the motel, you know, we kicking it. He was like, so you were homeless, right? I said, nah, we were staying at the hotel. I ain't say I was under a tree or something, or I didn't have no. He said, you were homeless. And I started thinking, I'm like, dang, you right. We were homeless, right? I'm 38 years old, and I never even looked at it that way, right? I'm just thinking, because we had somewhere to sleep, you know, we were eating, but we were homeless. And I'm like, you right. So I shot the text to my little sister and my brother, and my older sister. I said, y'all ever been homeless before? And my little sister, she a nurse now. She was like, no. So I started telling her the story. And she called me. She said, what? She said, wow, we were homeless multiple times. Because I left when I was 17. So they 10 years younger than me. So this happened on multiple occasions, right? And it was just the environment that we were living in, you know. A lot of the stuff that we saw, it just felt normal, because that's how everybody was living. You know, I mean, this normal, because my partner and them, my boys, I mean, everybody living the same way. This is normal life. So I kind of started helping my mom out, right? I needed to get some money. You know, I had just turned 16, so I went and got a job. We got a job at Church's Chicken. I seen y'all got churches here. I haven't seen churches in years, because they don't have that in DC. You know, I was the cook at churches. I was a beast too. You know, you get me at churches, I'm not even looking at the stove, right? So I got good at it. You know, you put me in any environment, if you show me how to do it, I'm a visual person. If you show me how to do it, I'm gonna get it done. Not only if you show me how to do it, if you put some money behind it, I'm gonna get it done, right? I'm gonna go get it. So I started working at churches, and you know, I would get my check. Again, it's my mind's for us. You know, Jerry curls and stuff ain't really working out. It ain't paying out a whole lot. And the only time that she would make decent money is holidays. When holidays come, everybody was going to get their hair done. You know, in the hood, that's when it's certain times that you gonna go get your hair done. For Easter, the money gonna come. You know, at Easter the money gonna come. First day of school, the money gonna come. You know what I'm saying? And around the holidays. But all the other days, don't let it rain for a week. There ain't nobody getting their hair done. I'm not about to get this wet. You know, so when I would get my check from churches, I had to give it to her. So every time I got paid, I had to give my check to her, and it's like, dang. Because my boys older, so they walking around, they got the new J's on. You know, they got all the newest stuff, and I'm like, man, I can't do none of that, because I gotta give my money to my mama. I gotta help my siblings out. I gotta make sure they eat. So my manager at churches, my man name was Jack. Me and Jack was cool. We worked night shifts together. Jack was probably, I'm 16. Jack was probably about 27 at the time. Jack was the manager at churches, but it was a cover up. Because Jack was the biggest dope dealer in Lake Charles, right? His car, he had to clean his car, candy paint. You know, I drove his car to prom. This was my boy. But every night when me and Jack would close, a car from Texas would pull up. And Jack would go outside, come back in, I'd be in there cleaning up. And eventually I walked in the office, and I was trying to see what was going on. After Jack had finished counting the money from churches, he had like bricks of cocaine. And he like, Cory, man, whenever you ready, let me know. I got you, I'm gonna put you on. And I'm like, man, this church's check ain't really doing nothing. I can just jump down with Jack. And I'd be good, right? So now I'm around y'all age. I'm going about the 11th, probably about the 11th grade. Still working at churches. My senior year, I still hadn't figured out because again, I was average. And the standards were set so low for my family, right? Everybody in my family had a high school diploma. It stopped right there. Some of them didn't even have it, right? So if you only got a high school diploma, all I gotta do is get a high school diploma. Because that's what everybody else got. I get a high school diploma, I'm good, right? I accomplished everything that my family accomplished, I'm good. I ain't gotta go to college, because ain't none of them went to college, And for real, like, who paying for college? My mama ain't got no money to pay for no college. So that wasn't even a thought for me. So I get this phone call from my homegirl while this is my senior year. And she like, Cory, turn on the news. I'm like, turn on the news for what? It's like, it had to be like 6:30 in the morning. We ain't go to school till like 8:30. So I had at least a good hour of sleep. And around them time, I sat on the phone with a little girlfriend all night, I need to get this out. So I hang up on her. She called back. Cory, turn on the news. So I turn the news on, and I'm like, man, that's Jack's house. That's my main house. And the entire house is wrapped in yellow tape. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I started reading, and it said somebody had came in and killed everybody in the house. They killed him, they killed his wife, they killed the 2 pit bulls outside. I think one of his boys there was a mechanic. He had just got out of jail, and they shot his father in the head. Everybody in the house they killed. I never knew why they called my man Jack. I never even asked a question. I learned around that time why they called him Jack, because his name was Harold Sauber, right? But they called him Jack because he was robbing people, right? So when the guys from Texas found out, what was going on, they came back to get what was theirs, right? And they killed everybody in the house. At that point, I said, man, I gotta get out of here. My father locked up, ain't nobody else doing nothing. Like, I gotta make some moves, right? I don't have the grades really to go to college, and I'm not a school person, so that ain't an option. So I see this dude at my school, he a recruiter, an Army recruiter. And he like, hey man, come to the Army. I'm like, yeah, right. I ain't going nobody military, right? But I'm gonna hear him out. So he was like, man, you go to the military, and he started telling me about all the benefits. I'm like, man, well maybe I could join the military just to leave, right? So I talked to my mom about it. And I had a cousin that was in the military, and every time I see him, he come home, he have a new car, new motorcycles, and I'm like, man, he look like he doing good. So I said, you know what, man, I'm gonna join the military. I get my mama to sign off because I can't just join at 17. I graduated high school in May. By July, I was gone, right? And that's when me being average started changing, right? When I joined the military, they sent me to Maryland, and it was a blessing, right? Because all my boys got sent to Texas, and that's why I would have loved to be to Texas, but that would have went wrong for me, right? Because I just said Texas 2 hours away from my house, so I would have left from home and went right back to my situation. So in my mind, the way I think of it now, God had a plan, right? Let me get him as further as possible away from his environment, and then we see how he moved in. So I called my mom, like, man, they sending me to Fort Meade, Maryland, and we both on the phone, like, where is that? All right, it just sounds cold, because we ain't got, I'm like, and we don't do cold. I'm from Louisiana, I ain't never seen snow in my life at this point. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to Maryland, So she was like, just go, it'd be a different place for us to check out. So I was like, all right. So when I get there day one, they started sending me through all these gates, and these dudes sitting at the gates, and they got these guns, they M16s, and I'm like, this is what the military about? Like, why all this security? And we go through another gate, and I'm like, something ain't right about this, right? So the guy said, man, this ain't just a regular base, this NSA. Me, I'm from the hood. What's NSA? He was like, oh man, it was on the movie Independence Day, it's a national security agency. So I'm like, why I'm here? Like, why did I come here? They said, well, this what your order say. This where you gonna be stationed at. So at this point, I'm like, man, I call home. You know, that's the first thing I'm sitting. All I got is my mom, so I'm calling her for everything. Mama, man, NSA. And she don't know. I don't even know why I call her. Just like me, she was worse than me. Like, what's NSA? She still don't know to the day what NSA is. Half of my family still think I'm in the military. I only did 3 years, so I've been out for 17 years. I go home, how the military treat you? But that's just, I don't tell no different. It's good, man. It's good, you know. So I got an NSA, and they say, all right, Cory, in order for you to stay here, we need you to fill out this paperwork. And they hand me these papers, and I swear, it was like a stack of papers like this. And they said, we want you to go back 10 years of your life and tell me everywhere you worked at, all the people you know from your neighborhood, and we want you to put all this documentation in here and give it back to us, because we're gonna go talk to all these people. And I'm like, oh no, we can't do that, right? This will fail. This gonna go wrong, and I'm done, right? And so I didn't fill out the paperwork for months, and then my first sergeant came and said, Carter, you got 1 day to turn in that documentation. So now I'm like, all right, you know, now it's a problem. I'm about to get in trouble, some real trouble. So I started going through the documents, and the one question that I knew would come up if I started filling this out: where's your father? Put your father address. Dang, I'm done at this point. So I said, you know what? Unknown. I don't know where he at, you know, because I'm not, I mean, he ain't got no address, so unknown. So I said, I submitted it, and then my boys started calling me. I ain't put all of them on there. I ain't even put all my uncles on there, because I'm like, you catch one of my uncles on the wrong day, they gonna be drunk, and ain't no telling what they gonna tell you, right? So I had to be careful of the people that I put on these documents. And then my aunt started calling me. You all right? Yeah, I'm good. Why? Some guy just came here with this badge asking a lot of questions about you. And I was like, nah, it's all right. This new job I'm working. Just what you tell them, you know. so you know, we go through that whole process, and in my mind, I'm like, ain't no way I'm getting no top secret clearance, you know, because a top secret clearance is what you need to work at NSA, CIA, all them 3-letter agencies you see on the news, because they have some of the world's most classified secrets, right? So they want to make sure that you solid, right? When it get real, that you ain't gonna go to the, you know, and start telling information you're not supposed to tell. So I submitted it, and 6 months later, it's just a process. It take a long time. They came back and said, Cory, you good? You got your top secret clearance. And I'm like, what? You know, first thing I do is, God, I don't know what you did, right? But I appreciate this one, you know, and I'm gonna do the right thing. You know, because now I'm in DC, and I'm seeing things different. I see cats that look like me, that's from where I'm from, they driving Benzes, they in these big houses, they taking trips to Dubai, they going to Brazil, and I'm like, hey, how I get that? What y'all do? And everybody did IT, right? In the military, I didn't do IT. It was called logistics, like supply. You just order a bunch of stuff and track it, you know. And it was decent because you can do it anywhere, even without the military. So it's a good job. But the dudes that was driving them cars was doing IT stuff. So now I'm 20 years old, you know. By the time I joined, did all this paperwork, it got approved. My 3 years in the military is, I'm at a couple months. I already did 3 years because you go to training, basic training and stuff first. So from 17, now I'm about 20, I'm almost done, right? I'm almost done with the military. My roommate at the time was like, hey man, you should do IT stuff. And I said, no, I don't even know how to turn a computer on. Like somebody had to set up my email for me. I still got that email address that my man set up 20 years ago. I don't use it, but he was like, hey man, I said, how we set it up? He was like, man, just give me your last name and your last 4 of your social. I ain't know no better. Here. And that's when he used as my email. I still got that email. And he still laughs today when he see me post like the modern day technology. He said, man, what? How you the modern day technology. He's like, you don't remember I set your email up for you? You ain't even know how to turn the computer on. I say, hey man, don't nobody needs to know that, right? That's between me and you. Because now I do, right? But it was really because I didn't know nobody that was doing it. By a show of hands, that's all y'all in this engineering class. In your immediate family, how many people engineers? Nobody, right? We're gonna stretch it out a little bit. How many your cousins engineers? Got 2 cousins? All right. How many of your friends engineers? Somebody you just might know, right? You got one? Okay. So how do you dream to be an engineer when you don't see nobody that look like you that's an engineer? You know what I'm saying? So that how do I dream to say I'm gonna be an engineer or even think it's accomplishable because nobody look like, I don't know nobody that's doing it. But when I got to DC, people were doing it. So my man, when he told me let's do IT, you know, and he was already doing it, he said, I'll help you out. And I'm telling you, man, that's all we need a lot of times is we got the grind. You know, we want to do right, and we got the motivation. We just need a little bit of help sometimes. We just need one person to help us out. And, you know, let us know that it's accomplishable, right? So once he helped me out, he wrote my whole resume for me. Like, we're going to say you did this. He said, I said, but I'm not getting out of the military until I get an offer. So he's like, put the resume out. So we put the resume out, and my phone started blowing up. Hey man, when can you start? And I'm like, well, I get out of the military in a couple more months. Bet when you get out, we got an offer for you, $60,000. I'm 21 at the time, so I'm like, $60,000? Man, ain't nobody in my family making no $60,000. I'm 21 years old. I get out, take the offer letter, I send it straight to the jailhouse to my father. Hey man, I'm home. When you get out, it's popping, right? I'm making $60,000. We good, right? Send it to my mom. You know, at this time I got my little sister and brother too. I got custody of my younger sister and brother, right? I'm taking care of them. I'm still buying them school clothes, you know, making sure they good. They under my medical, you know, all that, right? So I'm still taking care of them at the same time, right? So that's when the IET thing started. So when I tell y'all, I didn't go through middle school and high school, you know, this was never the plan, right? Because I didn't know the plan was possible. Y'all ahead of the game. Because y'all already in here saying y'all gonna be engineers, and when I talk to a few of y'all actually know what it is. When I was saying a mechanical engineer, I was just talking, right? I sat down with a couple of y'all already, and y'all already understand technology. So what I accomplished at now I'm 38, it shouldn't be a problem for you to get to it at 25, 28, right? Because you got the roadmap now. Now you can't say, when y'all walk out this room and somebody say, hey man, how many engineers you know? How many of y'all know an engineer? Y'all all better raise y'all hand. Yeah. Be like, hey man, that dude Cory from Louisiana, he was an engineer, right? Yep. So now, you know, you can't say I couldn't dream because I never seen somebody that looked like me, right? And once I started doing it, I started to help desk. Once I started doing it, now I'm motivated because now I know, oh, this it? Like this all you gotta do? I started taking Microsoft certifications, right? Because now I started building on that small platform I had. Because now I'm motivated. Because the cars these dudes are driving, $100,000 Benzes. And I'm like, I gotta get that. How I get that? Because now I need some more money. So my man, like, he from Florida, he said, go take some Microsoft certifications. Go on YouTube, look it up here, then you go buy the book. All right, bet. I'm going through the Microsoft certifications, I go take one. You pass. So I'm still building off of now I see it, now I'm hungry. Now I'm ready to put the work in, right? And now I ain't moving around average no more like I was in school. Because now I know it's available, right? So now I'm getting to the bag however I gotta get to it. So now I'm motivated, I'm taking all these courses, I get another offer. We're gonna move you from 60 to 85. All right, bet, I'll take that. And as I kept building on my skills, right, the more skills I learned, the more money came, right? And that almost turned into an addiction, right? Because you just want to get better and better, and then you start getting into it, and now you start appreciating the technology. You're like, man, I can do this. And I built that all the way up till I got to the 6-figure range. I got past that, and so now I got a team of engineers, and these dudes smart. And I was never the smartest engineer, right? I'll hustle you though. I'll work you. I've never been the smartest one. But if we stand on side each other, you better be willing to work. Because I ain't gonna stop. We gonna go, right? And I got a couple guys on my team, these dudes smart. They tell me some stuff and I'll be like, what? All right. Yep, let's do that. Because now I'm the boss, so I don't have to be as technical as them now. I just have to understand what they saying. I gotta understand the concept, and then we go implement it. So even though they sharp and they smart, you know, I gotta be the one to sign off on it, right? I gotta be the one, because a lot of them, you know, they go brief these customers, and we work in different countries. You know, my guys fly off to different countries. We work in a lot of different countries. They actually just got back from Europe last week. But they so smart to where if they come tell you or tell a customer that don't really know nothing about IT, they be looking at them like, what? So they gotta come tell it to me, and then I gotta translate it. It's like a different language. I gotta break down what they told me to somebody that don't understand technology and make them say, oh yeah, I like that. Here the check. We gonna pay for that. Yeah, I like him. You know, so I say all this, and I challenge y'all, right? You know, never let your current circumstances or your community define who you are, right? Never let it define who you are. We all come from different backgrounds, but that shouldn't stop us from accomplishing greatness. And I ain't sitting here saying, yo, it's easy. Oh, you gotta put in some work. Like the work starts today. You gotta come here, put it 120%. This the time right here. Because I'm like, if I could go back, if I knew what I knew now, if I can go back to y'all age, oh, it'd be on and pop. 21, 6 figures, easy, no problem, right? If somebody would've came and told me what I'm telling you about technology and how the roadmap on how to get there, ain't nobody came to my school and talked to me about STEM. We ain't know what STEM was. So if somebody would've told me that it was accomplishable, then I probably could have started looking into it a little bit more. But nobody told me that. So don't let your current, whatever you got going on, you know, don't let that define who you are. Just because you don't have no family members as engineers, right? It don't matter, because now you got me, and I'm willing to help you along the way. If y'all need something, I got questions on, hey, Cory, what I gotta do next? I looked into this what I wanna do, you know, this is the school I wanna go to. All right, bet. Let's start working, because this ain't my thing was, even with doing this, I didn't wanna just come one time and then walk away from it. Cause like, man, we ain't seen that dude since. Nah, I'm gonna come back. Couple months, I'm gonna come check on you. What's up, bro? How you doing? What you looking like? How your grades looking? You know, what's the plan? Because you gotta set a plan. And what I used to do is my uncle told me this a while back. He said, man, you gotta set some goals. So I wrote some goals down and I put it in my wallet, and I would go look back at them goals, right? Because you gotta see those goals. You gotta see them every day, wherever you write them in your tablet, put them in your notebook, wherever, because you gotta see those goals. And it kind of helped you with the grind process. It kind of helped you to keep working, you know, and keep moving forward. Because, you know, this is the goal I got to get to. How do I get there? And then you start applying that, right? Inventory the people you're around. You got to inventory the people you're around. I go through my phone a lot, and I'm like, man, who I talked to this week? And for a long time, I was wasting time talking to people that wouldn't bring no value in my life. We sit on the phone and chop it up about nothing, right? And that was wasting my time, right? Because I was trying to get somewhere. So like I said, when I was trying to get the cars and get to that 6 figures, I started hanging with cats that had it. Because I knew they was the only ones that can get me to 6 figures, right? Because they got it. But if I'd have kept hanging with people that was making 30, 40,000, I would have kept making 30, 40,000, right? And even to the day, I still apply the same concept, right? To get to the million and the 7 figures, guess what you gotta do? You gotta go hang with the cats that's in that million range, right? When I look at my phone now and I inventory my circle, them dudes I talk to every week, right? So if you got a 2.5 and you trying to get to a 3.0, guess what you gotta do? You gotta go hang with them cats that's 3.0. And as you climb the ladder, there's still gonna be some people trying to pull you back, trying to hold you down. They're gonna try to stick around, right? Because they see you going places. You gotta watch out for them, you know, because if you wanna get somewhere in life and you wanna accomplish your goals, this ain't for everybody. You know, everybody don't wanna be successful. Some people, they good with what they doing, they good with what they got, and that's fine. You know, but if you trying to get somewhere, you can't hang with them people. You know, you gotta let them go. And you gotta challenge yourself. Make sure you grind. Make sure you put in that 120%. And work hard. Don't give. It's gonna be some roadblocks, right? It's gonna be things pulling you down each step of the way. But you can't stop. The grind don't stop. You know, you gotta keep on pushing. No matter how hard it gets, right? And you take all the negative stuff that you have went through in your life, and you use that to make you stronger. You use that to push you when the times get hard. You think about them times, and you keep on grinding. So again, I thank you guys. I'm gonna take a few questions. I thank you guys for the opportunity, right, to come and speak, because me being successful really don't mean nothing if I can't come back and get the game to y'all, right? If I just took this and kept on doing what I'm doing, but never came back and try to come help the youth, my community, my people, then all that money don't mean nothing, right? I gotta be able to give it to y'all so you guys can come back. It shouldn't take 20 years for y'all though. We're gonna cut this time in half. 10 years, somebody should be coming back here to Riverview going and say, hey, I was in here, I was listening to this dude, and this is where I'm at today because of that conversation. So again, thank y'all. Keep on pushing. I'm working on getting some my IG together. I was telling the other school, I had IG, right, and I went overseas for a little bit. I turned it off. So when I came back, they told me I needed to create another one. And at the time, it was popping. My IG was popping. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. And I was talking to my man William. He was like, man, you gotta go get your IG back, because these kids gonna wanna, you know, they gonna wanna look for you. So so I'm putting a disclaimer out that my IG a little weak right now because I just turned it back on last week. So when y'all go look on it, be like, man, his IG weak. Just give me a little time. You know, we working on the IG thing right now. I see, William, you got a question.
Yeah, so it's something you haven't touched on here today yet. You mentioned, so your decision to get in the military, how did that decision affect your siblings and your family? So you got in the military, everything changed for you. But what you say you got custody of your siblings, but what about everybody else? What happened with them?
So the military, and I say and another kid actually, you know, what you think about the military, and I said the military was the best decision that I made, right? Because I ain't have a plan. And I wasn't trying to go to school. School at the time just wasn't for me, right? So I wasn't gonna waste nobody's time and money. Well, we ain't even had the money, right? So, you know, so I joined the military, and what that did for my siblings is now they got medical benefits, because they fall under me. Now I got a check coming in, right? And now I can go to school, because when I finished my degree, the military paid for it. So I don't have no student loans, right? I got a degree in IT management, the military paid for all that. And I only done 3 years. You know, my little brother now, he's in the military. He's 27. He worked at the White House. So he traveled with the VP, you know, and my decision on joining the military, he was just like me. You know, he wasn't ready to go to school, so he joined the military. But he joined with me, walking him through the process on what job to pick, on how to move. So now he worked at the White House Communications. So he's traveling with the president. He was at the vice president's house last week in LA. And he's like, man, it's crazy. Like, we shut down the whole street, you know, and we walk into our house because they got to go out and set up comms, communications before the president. So before the president even travel or the VP even travel, a team of folks go out and they do inspections, they shut down everything, they set up the comms, you know, because it's on high alert. So he does that. My younger sister, she's a nurse. I actually paid for her to go to college. And my older sister, she's a nurse as well, so they both in the medical field. Yeah.
Do you have any females on your engineering team?
There's a lot of females. We're gonna have to bring next time this one female. It's a lot of females. And you know the funny thing about engineering? When I received that Veda Award, they do this STEM conference every year, and they go out and look for talent, right? And they look for the whole point of the organization is diversity, right? So they give scholarships to STEM students. And before COVID, I went to this conference, and they were recognizing all the STEM students. And everyone that walked up there was a female. Everyone. I'm like, where the males at? Like it was no, you may have had one or two, and even when I walked into class yesterday, it was all girls. And normally in engineering, that's the new thing. The female, the engineering is changing. Because now it's females that's jumping into it. And they start their own companies, and females are pretty much taking over the engineering. So when a little bit later ago, before we even started the class, then about 7 guys walked in. I was like, man, all right. Now it's kind of half and half. So right now the females are taking over the engineering industry. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You had said that your dad had went to jail when you was younger for 20 years. Is he still in jail right now?
So he did get out, right? I was waiting for him to get out because I said, man, we was gonna do a whole bunch of stuff when he get out, right? Now I got a little bit of money. He used to ride motorcycles, so I bought a couple motorcycles. He always wanted a Harley, so I went and bought a Harley. Now I get this nice Harley. I got this 23-inch wheel in the front. I'm like, we gonna ride together, right? So I wanted to wait until I got married because I wanted him to be there, and he was there. I got married in 2015. He got out in 2015, around January time frame. I got married in October. So he did get out. In 2018, you know, because it's being locked up for 20 years, that's hard, right? That's hard. And it's a lot of adjusting that has to happen. And it's like anything else I said, you gotta be willing to put in the work. It's a grind, right? In 2018, I got a phone call, my father committed suicide. Yeah, my father committed suicide, and it hurt me, right? I had to go get counseling for it, just because I didn't understand. I'm like, man, you left us all this time, like, you know, I got the opportunity to help you out to make this better, right? And he took his own life, right? But when he got out, the bad decisions kept happening. He went back and hung with the same dudes he was with before he got locked up, right? He got back to the drinking, and for 20 years I used to go see him. I mean, I got the pictures in my phone. I used to go see him, and we would have conversations, and I'm like, he gonna be good when he get out. This dude ain't drink in 20 years. It ain't no way he going back to that. And he got out, and you know, he got right back to it, got right back to making bad decisions. And he had a job, house, car, so it wasn't like a lot of people get out and it's like, I can't find employment. I'm a felon, you know. But the world was too big for him, so he took his own life. So yep, 2018. So life gonna keep on throwing you some bad hands. You just gotta be smart.
Y'all cool. We got y'all hall
All
pass.
right, go ahead, I got passes for you
Yeah, we
guys.
got y'all
Go ahead.
passes.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sit down, we're not driving.
Y'all cool.
Okay, so how did your father passing affect your work life?
Say again?
How did your father passing affect your work life?
Say it one more time.
How did your father passing affect your work life?
You
told me say it 3 times.
Yeah. So she said, how did my father pass and affect my work life? I got a 5-year-old little girl, right? And she everything to me, right? It didn't affect me because I had to look at what I gotta do for her. Because if I slow down and move different, it's gonna affect my baby girl. And I can't have that, right? This little girl, everything to me. So I gotta make sure that she good. So I had to keep moving. I had to man up and keep moving. Do I think about it? I do. I think about it, but I don't let it stop me, you know? So you just gotta keep grinding and a lot of praying.
But to echo, he also mentioned therapy. He had to go to therapy and get counseling for it too. That was another piece that helped him kind of get through everything.
On and off for about a year. So I even went before he passed away, I went, right? And it was good that I went because the therapist told me, because I was going back and forth with myself, because now I got a kid and naturally I'd do anything for this little girl, right? So I was trying to figure out why my daddy ain't feel like that about me. You know what I'm saying? Like why do he not feel like, did he not love me the way that I love this little girl? Right? And the therapist kind of walked me through, you know, maybe he didn't know how. Maybe he thought he was, right? But he said you need to have a conversation with him. And luckily he said that, right? Because we sat down and we had a level conversation before all this happened. And he did say, you know, I love you, right? I had never heard my father say it. And he said, the love's still here. I love you. I'm sorry. And that's how I moved on. Because we did have a conversation, and me, had I not go to that therapist, we would have never had that conversation. I would have never gave him the chance to apologize. Yep.
Like what happened? What's up with your
My
mama now?
mom? So I bought my mom a house when I was 21. Because I got my little brother and sister still there, so I bought her a house when I was 21, because I couldn't keep watching my brother, you know, my brother and sister going through that. So I bought her a house and there's a beauty shop in the back. So she's still doing hair, right? She still live there today. The Jerry curl's still popping. I'm telling you, we had these conversations still till today. And I'm like, you doing what? Like, who's still getting this?
Right.
She's like, boy, and she said, boy, it's $100. You know? So I'm like, hey, they gonna pay the $100 to get it, yeah, you know. So my mom, I mean, she living a good life. She probably sitting outside right now drinking some coffee. She probably got a cigarette. Her life good. She ain't gotta work as hard. She don't have to. I mean, she good. I take care of everything that she's doing, right? And that was really the goal. After seeing her struggle for so many years, like it's like, what can I do to make sure she's good? And she's good now. Yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite part of your job right now? What you do right now?
My favorite part is the look on customers' face when we implement something new, right? So customers come tell us their pain points. And they say, you know, Cory, we going through all these different issues, like this is our day-to-day operation, we going through all this, I give my team, we brainstorm, how do we make this better? And then we come up with something new, whether my guys, we get together, we write a script to implement it and take a process away that they were doing. Maybe they going through and they dropping these files here, and then they gotta manually take these files and move them somewhere else, and we go write a script, put it on the system, and every 5 minutes they grab those files and move it over for them. And they can go do something else. And when we implement something like that, my guys just implemented something recently, and they called me and they said, Cory, thank you so much. Like your team is so awesome, you know. So getting the kudos from the people, and these people from other countries, you know, and they calling me to say thank you for something that we created. So I think just the customers, you know, we love our customers. So
you mentioned, excuse me, you mentioned that you work with, you know, customers in other countries. Where are some of the places that you've traveled?
So I've traveled. I've been to Dubai. I've been to Denmark, Norway, Italy, Venezuela, Brazil, what else? I've been to a lot of different countries. Jordan, Afghanistan, a little bit of everything.
How much do you make now?
How much I make now?
Told you it's gonna come up.
Waiting on that.
I don't wanna be bumped.
Hey.
$1 million.
Hey,
You don't have to get the right amount, just say like.
oh no, I'm well over that 100,000 I told you I was making. So
Half a million?
I'm doing all right.
See, get out of
So one of the guys said the other day, he said, man, what's your, in the 8th grade, one of the 8th grade said, man, what's your net worth? So I said, what? He said, what's your net worth? You know? And to me, I told him I didn't really look into it because I look at my network of people. I look at the getting on the phone to the people that I can call, the people that I know, right? Because that's what I value. You know, I value the entire network. He wanted to know my network. So I said, I got over $1 million, I know for sure in real estate. But I never really looked at it. I'm good though. Trust me. I'm good.
You cool.
No, I just got it. Yep.
Pick the days you wanna work.
Do I?
7 days a week.
I can, but again, I got engineers under me, so I let them take off. I go in the office. You know, they always come up with these excuses about what they gotta do. Can we work from home? So somebody gotta make sure that the office still running. That's what happens when you get to that management role. When I was an engineer, I probably could sit at home. Because now, after COVID, you know, with this pandemic, it used to be you had to go in the office. But if you're an engineer today, I got a little cousin that just graduated from college 2 years ago. And he was a software, he went to school for electrical engineering. And we had the conversation at my father's funeral. And he's like, cuz, I'm about to graduate. And you know, we just talking, I'm like, yeah, hit me up, man, you know, I can get you a job. Not thinking he was gonna hit me up, he started blowing my phone up, right? And I'm like, dang, now I gotta do what I said, right? So we worked on his resume, and he had about a 3.8. Today he worked for GD. I did get him a job, he got a top secret clearance, and he's a software developer for GD. So, yep.
Yeah.
If you didn't go into, if it wasn't for the career path that you have now, if you didn't go into engineering, what would have been like another career path you would have taken?
One with some money? I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
If you didn't go into engineering, what would you have gone into?
Yeah. So I don't know, because like I said, engineering. If I didn't go into engineering, I did 20 years in the military. So I'd have retired this year. I'm 38 years old. I would have been retired. My wife's retired. She's retired Air Force. So I would have did my 20 years. I would have retired the military, and I'd probably be sitting on the porch with my mom right now. Military was fun for me because I was only around people that from my community, right? From where I was from. The military allowed me to meet new people and get new experiences, right? So the military, I didn't have a bad experience. And that's what my little brother joined, you know, because I put him on the same thing. And now he's at year 10.
Did he like it?
He love it. He love it.
Is the military really just like guns and dirt? And
No.
No.
I watch TV.
I was just saying like guns, dirt,
Right.
and
So the military is just like college, right? Because the only difference is in college you go study about a career field. In the military you can go in and go be an engineer, and in day one you start being an engineer. In college you gotta wait 4 years, right? To actually become an engineer. In the military it's all hands on. After you finish basic training, you go to whatever school, whatever, if you wanted to be a nurse or whatever job you pick, then you go through that training. That training might be 10 to 12 weeks. After that training, they send you to a duty station and you go to work. It's a regular, you wake up in the morning, you put on your uniform, you go sit in the office, and it's a job. While your friends in college trying to learn about what you're doing.
Will they spray you with
They don't spray you with mace, but you do go through a gas chamber. It's quick though.
Oh.
Man, look, you put a gas mask on, you go in the gas chamber. They tell you to break the seal on it. You break the seal on it, the gas get in there, you run out. So you gonna sit up a little bit.
But it's a little guns and dirt. That's the question. She
No.
wants to know.
You trying to be a cop? No.
Hey, I spent 30 years in the Navy, alright? And I had no plan on going into the Navy. My dad said, this would be good for you. You should do it. Go into JROTC when you're in high school. I was a cheerleader and a gymnast. That was the first thing from my mind. And when I decided to go to college, I said, well, maybe if I join the military, my dad will help me pay for school. That didn't happen. I came up in a sparse kind of community too, lower middle class, right? So I said, if I join the Navy, maybe he'll help pay for my college. That didn't help. I had to take out loans to go to college. It was hard. And then I was failing college. And the only thing I wasn't failing was my Navy classes. So I said, I better stay in this for a little bit. And when I got in the Navy, I said, I'm only staying in for my 4 years, and then I'm getting out. But I'm telling you, I kept having fun. I kept I didn't go in planning, I was just gonna be an admin officer. I ended up being a senior military officer doing national intelligence. I was stationed all over the world. You know, it depends on what you make of it, right? The military can be an amazing experience. My 2 daughters, last thing that they would ever think of is going into the military. My son is going into the military. So it is a really good job. If I had gotten out at 5 years, I'd been like Cory. I'd have been able to get kind of any job I wanted, right? So, I mean, you can have bad recruiters too, right, Cory? I mean, you should use people like Cory. If you're gonna go to a recruiter and they're gonna talk to you about stuff, go to people who've been in the military and say, hey, my recruiter's telling me X, Y, and Z. What do you think? You know, talk to somebody else about it. Don't just talk to your recruiter, all right? But, yeah.
That's right. Cory?
Well, was y'all training hard? Like when you first had to go in the military, was the training hard?
So, I mean,
It's not easy.
so I was out of shape for sure, right? So they definitely, I ain't no runner. I ain't never been no runner, but they gonna get you right, and it's just like anything. If you keep on doing it, you keep getting better at it, right? Keep on doing it. So you'll start off. I'll tell you this. It will be some adjustment, right? And it's like anything in life. It'll be some adjustment, but it ain't nothing you can't do. Take one more, and then we.
I have a question from a librarian standpoint. We are trying to create a maker space in our library, and we want to kind of incorporate some of those like STEM things to get students interested in things like engineering. What are some things that we can put into our maker space that would encourage kids to pursue either IT or engineering, or at least set them on the path to that?
So I probably can get with William and get a list of stuff.
Yeah.
And we can just start working from that point. Yeah. We can work that out. Yeah.
Awesome.
So GDIT is also working with Little Bit Foundation for the school to provide these STEM kits.
Oh, cool.
And we're still working out the logistics. We're hoping that we're gonna partner with a company called STEMboard Lingo, who makes these STEM kits. And we're hoping to come into this school, into Miss Williams' class, and be able to actually do a class with you guys, in person or virtual, where you get to learn some coding and get to do some STEM activity. And then we're also working with Little Bit Foundation for other STEM-like activities through GDIT.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Gotta get a picture of him.
All right. Again, y'all go out there, put in that work. I'm gonna come check on y'all. Come check on y'all. Make sure y'all good. If y'all got any questions, I'm gonna give my contact information to William. Hit me up on IG or however we work it out, And if any one of y'all need to set up a path on what to do, then we work it out.
Okay. So y'all, let's give Cory your hand, please. So did y'all learn something new about engineering? Something new about your pathway, kind of where you want to go, where you want to be in life? Okay. Hey, so Cory, I appreciate you, man, definitely coming out. So check this out. So what I need from y'all, we let y'all get out. You can stop all of those. We can let y'all. You can stop those. let y'all get out of here, but what I need